right, I've got a few notes here so that when I do some examples, I tend to ramble, so hopefully that will keep me a little bit more focused. I'm Scott Jacobson with Your Best Next Step. Your best next step to what? To market and grow your business. We work with clients who don't want to be told all the things they could be doing, because there's so many. Many of our clients come, they're confused about how to market and grow their business, as I'm sure many of you are, at least have been at one point or another. There is so much social media. There's so many different types of marketing, old style marketing, new style marketing, online marketing, snail mail, email. The choices are many and endless. What we do is we really help people sort through, we help companies sort through and find their best next step to market and grow their business. That means what we do is we take a look at not just what you're trying to do, of course we're trying to do that, but also what your capabilities are, and also where your mind's at. I've worked with several clients who couldn't write a thank you note, yet they've had marketing consultants come in and say, you know what you should do? What you need to do is you need to blog. And you should be blogging once a week. That's not going to happen. They're not there. They're not going to do that. So what we do is we work to find that best next step that fits the company, who they are, their personality, their budget, their resources, that'll take them to where they want to go. And the nice thing about that is once we got that step done, there's always another best next step. We're going to talk about two ideas here. Two very basic ideas that a lot of you are going to look at and you're going to go, in fact, I give you permission. When you look at it and you say, I know that stuff, so here's what I want you to do. I want you to fold your arms, and I want you to sit back smugly and say, I know this stuff. I know this stuff. I could be teaching this. I don't know why that guy's up here. He's a chump compared to what I know about this. But what I find is, wow, it's really easy to forget the basics, especially in the heat of battle, okay? But in addition to talking about these things that you've already heard about, we're going to cover some of these things. We're going to talk about sales and marketing alignment. We're going to talk about the difference between service products and selling a hard physical product. We're going to talk about being irresistible or not. We're going to talk about, second to the bottom one there, the problem of a great reputation. Okay, why do you care? Why do you care about what we're talking about here? The goal is for you to be able to say the right things to the right people at the right time. All three of those things are important to really have effective message. And these are the results. These are the benefits that you're going to get by employing these processes and tactics. You're going to have shorter sales cycles. You're going to have a higher ROI. You're going to spend less money and get more. Okay, here's the first one. Start folding your arms now if you want to. One of the things that's different about this is that it's a buying process. It's not a sales process. Oftentimes we hear this concept presented as a sales process. That's danger number one. That starts leading you down the wrong path. That'll take you right off the rails. The reason is, and it was covered in the preceding presentation, it's not about us. It's not about your sales process. It's about how your buyers buy. So let's start with that. Every buying process we have, with very few exceptions, everything we buy, whether it's a business or whether as a consumer, we go through a process like this. We might go through fast, we might go through slow. Parts of it we might go through fast, parts of it we might go through slowly. But we all go through a buying process. So let's start building on this buying process. On the left, we are casually interested. We may not even know we have a problem. We may know we have somewhat of an interest in it. But as we move toward becoming we move from being a prospect to becoming a customer, we gain more and more interest about it. At some point, we actually make a decision that, you know what, I'm in the market for whatever it is. And then we start choosing the right vendor. Now, what might that look like? It can look like almost anything you want it to be. Pick an example. I could be in the market for, well, let's do a personal one. So that last big storm we had in June, we had water in our basement. I went from casual interest to being a buyer really quickly. But because there was that storm was so big and so covered such a wide area, normally I would have gone through that decision process very quickly, but I couldn't because I couldn't get anybody out there. So my decision process actually lasted for several weeks. Okay, the same thing happens. Here's the point of this. Whatever your situation is, whoever your buyers are, you need to know this process for them. Is the decision process short? Is it long? If you're selling to larger companies, the decision process is long, and it actually happens in multiple cycles because you have multiple decision makers. I want to remind us of why we're here. Again, knowing this process, remembering this process, is going to help us say the right things at the right time to the right people. One of the things that happens if we try to move too quickly to, if we speak to somebody here as though they're over there, we start to lose them. It's the proverbial used car salesman who comes up and said, hey, what kind of car can I get you in today? That's way too soon. I don't know, you don't even know if I'm buying a car. Okay, that's not a very good example. But it happens all the time where we start coming in and we're talking to somebody and saying, we're in a sales situation. We start selling them. We start talking about our features, what we can do for them. Now let's overlay these three other dimensions on here. One of the things that about this process is over here, the questions that prospects ask are very different than they are over here. That's a really good thing. This is our cue. How many people have been in a sales situation when the salesperson says, are you the decision maker? How do you feel when they ask you that question? Is it a little off-putting, kind of? Why? Because you know they're trying to peg you on this curve, is really what they're trying to do, right? But you don't, okay, if you're a salesperson and you're asking that question, that's good. That's okay. Even though it's a little off-putting to people, it's good. It's better than not asking the question because you need to know where people are, otherwise you can't speak to them. But you don't have to be that obvious most of the time because people are going to give you signals. Here's what's going to happen. On this end, well, at this end, this guy isn't going to ask any questions because he doesn't care. But as he moves over this way a little bit more, what he's going to do is his questions are going to be very broad, very general around the topic. As he moves to becoming some interested, his questions get more specific. This particularly happens with product, but it also happens with service. As he moves further to the right, the questions become personal. Those are your buying signals. So over here, I'm going to ask some featured questions. If it's a product, it's going to say, well, so does your product have 3 arms to it or just 2? If it's a service, they're going to say, so when your IT services, do you also do all the wiring, all the interfaces and all that sort of thing, or is it just, what do you do? Further to the right you get, people start asking the question to say, oh, you mean you're going to save me about a couple hours a week in IT time? You mean that our uptime is going to go from this to that? I'm personalizing it. Those are buying signals. Why is that important? Because when I know where somebody is, I can tailor my message to them. If I don't know where you are, I have to sling stuff at you and hope that one of these hits you where you're at before you get bored and tune me out. Okay? It can be subtle, but it's important. It can make the difference between a successful campaign or an unsuccessful campaign. But this is the difference. A lot of times I'll get a 10, 15, 20% lift in a marketing campaign by just going back to this diagram, paying attention to it, and changing what this diagram tells me to change. Okay, we go up to the benefits. The same thing happens with benefits. Benefits start switching over here. They're broad. You're casting a wide net often. A lot of internet marketing happens down in here because you're getting a very wide funnel. That's one of the things the internet has done for us. It's allowed us to get a very wide funnel very cheaply. The challenge to that funnel, though, is to actually move people so you can tell when they're moving over here. That means you have to have a sequence to your content. You have to have a message to your content. that was referred to a little bit earlier. The benefits up here, they move from broad to specific to personal. Same thing like the questions. And the emotions. Emotions start here with little emotion. Emotions are really interesting. And you want to understand what the emotions are for each of your market segments. I'm going to give you one story. I was working with a company that sells sales management training to VP position of sales in very large companies. Okay? The description of the target client was ego times 10. Make a lot of money. They have a lot of power, a lot of people working for them. These are large companies. So one of the things I asked is, so what are their emotions around what you're selling to them, the sales training? These people are fearless. They have no fear. Really. Because earlier in the conversation, they told me that this particular group, in the last several years, their average tenure has gone from 18 months in position to 12 months in position. Now they're talking to you about training their sales manager. They don't have any fear? Are they nuts? Of course they have fear, because what happens if this doesn't work? They have 12 months to prove themselves, and they're talking to you about training their salespeople. What happens if that training doesn't work? What happens if they choose the wrong vendor? They don't get a second chance. They've got emotion. They may not be showing it to you, but it's emotional. So why wouldn't you appeal to that emotion? You think your message will be more effective? Yeah, it will be more effective. Well, how do you do that? Let's just take one example. How would you do that in that situation? You can go risky. You can go right at it, and say, "So, okay, you're talking to me now about sales training. What happens if this doesn't work? What happens if whoever you choose for your vendor doesn't work?" Make them think about it. Now, as soon as you do that, one of the things about emotions is fear can work for you, but it can also destroy your sales situation. If you poke somebody in a wound, but don't have a Band-Aid, it's going to work against you. So when you do that, and by the way, I recommend this, get the emotions out there. I recommend poking, gently, nicely, respectfully, but then have the Band-Aid ready. So ask the person, ask these VPs, so what happens if we do this program and it doesn't work? You better pick the right person. Now I'm going to tell you why I'm the right person. I've done two things when I do that. The first one is, as I said, I'm talking to you and I'm saying, I understand how important this is to you. And I would use a statistic. This is what I was talking to the client about. I'd use that statistic. I understand that the tenure in most marketing, for most people in your position, is now down to about 12 months. And they might say at this point, "Oh no, I'm good here." Yeah, okay. A lot of our customers, though, it's different. Okay, so knowing where your customers' emotions are. Here's another one that's interesting. It's not true for every situation, and you should have a feel for where they are emotionally. But a lot of times, professional services, but product as well, but more for professional services. One of the things that's interesting is that right before the decision and right after the decision, negative feelings pop up. That's true for me. When clients hire me, they're hiring me because they want change. They want to make a difference. It's the same sort of thing with the sales VPs I was just talking about. So I know that the first day that I walk in there, there's a lot of apprehension. Holy cow, what did I just do? I got this guy in here, he's going to stir. You know what? A lot of times they've been down this path before. This guy's going to come and kick the hornet's nest, and it's just going to make things worse. So you know what I do? So first of all, I know that is a typical emotional curve that my clients go on. So I'm watching for it, so I can see it. As soon as I see it, I acknowledge it. what does that mean? Sometimes I walk in and I say, you look nervous. Are you nervous? Well, as a matter of fact, I am kind of nervous. You afraid I'm not going to perform? Yeah, that's it. Okay. Remember what I said, though, about my guarantee? Oh, yeah, that's right. Okay. Now I want to ask again, what do you think that does with my client at that moment? How does that feel to him as we're moving forward? Feels good. I can tell you it feels good. There's nothing like being afraid, because I've been on the other side too, where, oh my gosh, this is a career decision for me. And somebody acknowledged that and said, you know what? I've got your back. Now you have to believe it. If somebody says that and they're smarmy, then it's worse than if they didn't say it at all. But when you believe it, man, it really cements the relationship. Let's see. All right, here's the other thing over here. So when you're down here, it's all about them. Over here, the only time that you matter is when you're talking about, and this was in the previous presentation as well. The only time that you matter is when you're talking about what you are going to do for them. This is the fundamental nature of capitalism. It's about what you're going to do for them. And over here, it's all about them. So let's talk a little bit about some specific examples. Let's actually use this graph a little bit to see some examples of why this would make a difference. Let's suppose you are going to introduce a revolutionary new product. It's a truly revolutionary new product. Your prospects can be anywhere along this line. One of the nice things about marketing is you have a choice of where to engage your prospects. You can choose to engage them all the way through. You can then choose to engage them here or anywhere in here. If you have a revolutionary new product, where would you have to engage them? To the left. Yeah. Why? Got an idea? Because if it's truly revolutionary, you got a lot of explaining to do. You've got education to do. If it's truly revolutionary, they don't have any interest in it because they don't know what it is. Okay? Does it make sense? So now what we're doing is we're using this process, this simple process, to actually tailor and focus our marketing efforts. Let's say that we're small companies and we're selling to a large company. Where generally on this process are we entering with them? Yeah, it's in the middle. We probably don't have anything revolutionary. We're probably there. They've already been buying something, or they've made up their mind. They probably are somewhere in the decision part, right? So what does that mean? Well, let's get to that in another example. Let's do another example. What if your big benefit is low cost? Where do you want to engage them on this process? The big benefit that you bring to your customers is that you are a low-cost provider. I didn't say you're cheap. I didn't say you're crappy. I didn't say any of those things. I just said you're low cost. Where on this scale do you want to engage?
Closer to the right, because they've already made a decision.
Yeah, you want to go over here because this costs more money. This takes more time. It costs more money. Over here, once they've made a decision, here's an ideal situation for your low-cost product. Somebody else has engaged them. Somebody else has educated them. Somebody else has told them how the benefits of change. And they get over here, they say, you know what, I need to make a decision, but now I got to pick a vendor. So now what I'm going to do is research vendors. They come across you. And they find out that, wow, you have a very similar product, but you're 10% less than the next guy. If it was 2%, if your price was the same. One of the benefits of marketing over here is you get the opportunity to build relationship. You get the opportunity to craft or to craft the situation, to create the context. You lose that over here. Somebody else has already created the context and already started the story. But if you're 10% less, if you're the same price and they've already built a relationship, now they'll go with them. But if you're really less and significantly less, maybe 20% less, that's where you want to market because you don't have the money for here and you don't need to. Go right there. Now, how do you do that? Well, that's where one of the easy things to do would be to you want to spend more money on SEO, perhaps. Over here, you might be doing more networking. You might be doing more presentations. Over here, you might be doing more SEO, because when they Google to find some competitors, they find you. And right away, you're gonna pitch them with your benefit. All right. We're gonna go to the big win zone. This is the second part, second process. If you don't remember anything else in this presentation, remember this next one. And again, feel free to cross your arms, sit back, go. Features and benefits. I had to include, here's my experience tells me that features and benefits are wrestling. They're wrestling in our heads. So let me ask you a question, and I want a response here. Who can give me a really short description of why your customers are dealing with you right now? Anybody got a one sentence? Why are your customers dealing with you?
Reputation.
Reputation?
Yeah.
Problem solving? What?
Save time.
To save time, okay? They like you, yep. There was really, I think, just two benefits there. One is I like you. Saving time is definitely a benefit. Nobody pays for reputation. That's not a benefit, that's a feature. I'm going to give you a little story about, I was doing a session with a marketing agency, very successful marketing agency. And I asked them that question. I asked them, and by the way, it was a biased question. Why do your customers do business with you? It leads you to features. A better question is, what's the benefit that your customers enjoy by dealing with you? And if you can't answer that really crisply, you don't fully understand your benefits. Can I say that again? If you can't answer that really crisply, you don't fully understand your benefits. And if you don't fully understand the benefits your clients enjoy by doing business with you, you cannot effectively market your, that's not true. Let me say it in a positive. If you do clearly and concisely know the benefits that your customers enjoy, you will be much more effective in whatever marketing tactic you choose than if you don't. And that includes back to the story. So I'm dealing with a marketing agency, and I asked them that question. Why do your customers come to you? Because we have deep experience in the vertical that we support. Is that a benefit? We have deep experience in the vertical that we support, in the vertical market we support. No, that's a feature. That's a feature. Okay, after much conversation, they finally, I said, and which blew them away. They're a marketing agency. And by the way, they're very successful. So this gets to the point where I said, how to be brilliant or not. You might have heard the concept of unique selling, USP, unique selling position. And a lot of marketers will tell you you need one. The reality is you don't. You don't need one. Most companies are not that different. This is one of the frustrating things about features and benefits. At one level, all of us are the same. Very few companies are truly unique. Maybe Apple. Depending on if you ask a techie, they'll say no, but for a lot of us, Apple's unique. But most of us fundamentally are not. So it kind of messes with our heads when we try to really determine what our benefit is. But here's the tension in this. Fundamentally, most of us, every company, is in fact unique. It's mentioned over here, if somebody likes us or not. So here's that marketing agency. One of the things that they said to me is, after much wrestling around, they said, okay, here's the benefit we provide. The other one was, our customers, we do a great job of branding or something such for them. Nope, again, feature. Nobody buys brand. Who cares about brand? They buy the benefit. What's the benefit of having a good brand? Well, you can charge up to 30% more. Studies have shown you can charge up to 30% more when you have a really good brand. So I said to them, do you have an active process for helping your customers raise prices by 30%? No, we don't. Then I said, I can guarantee you your customers are not enjoying that benefit. You are leaving a lot of money on the table. So here's the point. You don't really have to differentiate yourself, and you can have a successful business. But if you want to take it to the next level, if you want to be something exceptional, know what that benefit is and deliver it. Now, can you imagine with that agency if they can figure out how to help their customers increase their prices by 30%? I can. Again, it's all about them, and it's what you can do for them. Saving somebody time is a benefit. One of the ways we can confuse benefits, though, or one of the things I'll say it that way. One of the ways we can confuse benefits is we confuse benefits that are valuable to us with what is valuable to our clients. Professional services often do this. I hear it stated this way, as I'm working through the process, what is the benefit you provide? One of them was greater clarity in managing this aspect of their business. And I said, well, how many people have told you that that's a problem? Well, no one, but they need it. I condensed the conversation down quite a bit. No one, but they need it. They did say, but they need it. And if you ever find those words coming out of your mouth, you got to do something about it. Either you're lying, you're delusional, or you have to have a better message. Because the reality is they don't need it. Whatever it is, they don't need it. Unless they say they need it. Again, here's what we're trying to do. Say the right things to the right people at the right time. That includes understanding your benefits and differentiating between features. Features can give you a measure of credibility, but they are not what people pay for. Another thing that happens is one of the benefits my customers enjoy that my prospects don't is my customers enjoy a sense of security, a sense of control over their business. Nobody buys me because nobody comes to me and says, you know what? We need somebody to help. I need somebody as the owner of this business, as the founder of this business, I need somebody who can help me feel like I'm more in control. Entrepreneurs don't talk that way, for one thing. That's not what they buy from me, but customers enjoy that benefit. Now, why is that important? Because I used to start talking to people, and when I'd be meeting with a business owner, somewhere in the conversation, I'd say, oh, by the way, one of the things that my clients really appreciate about me is that after working with me for a while, they really feel like they're more in control of their business. Falls flat. First of all, they don't believe it. So it's coming at the wrong time, wrong message at wrong time. Second of all, that's not where they're at. At this point, they're way to the left in casual interest. That's not what I'm looking for. Afterwards, wow. That benefit came last fall with one of my clients where they said, man, the air around here is just a lot more calm. At this time last year, we were going crazy. Now, why is that important? Because I know this process and because I think about this regularly, I can separate those two. I no longer tell somebody who's a prospect that they're going to enjoy more control. I might, but I don't lead with it. It's not what I'm going to close business on because they don't care. They're only casually interested. Okay, that was kind of a quick run through of those two processes, features and benefits. That's not really a process, it's a topic. And the buying process, understanding where they are. So what that does is it helps when marketers, when we talk about, you got to get inside your customer's head. You have to know what they're thinking. You have to say something that's engaging. And if you're struggling with how to do that, go back to this. Go back to that very simple process. Figure out where they're at. Think about their emotions around what they're talking about. Are they confused? There's a lot of confusion around marketing right now. That's one of the emotions that my prospects are dealing with. Are they in a hurry? There are emotions with your prospects. Understand what they are. These are some resources that I'd be happy to share with you. I've got a business growth handbook that, 34 pages, 32 pages. It talks about a lot of different issues that are common, roadblocks and challenges that are common for business growth. Some common conversion killers, conversion meaning converting engaged prospects to customers, and then lead generation. And that is it, I think. Yep.